So, welcome back guys to another video of Fireself, and in today's video we're going to be doing something very different because we're going to be testing condenser mic versus dynamic microphone. So right now you're hearing currently from both microphones. I merged it together into one stereo track, and this kind of just for the intro I'm going to use both microphones and see how they sound when merged. So basically in today's video we're going to compare dynamic versus condenser microphones, and I'm going to be using the Samsung Q2U versus the AT2020 because I think that the Samsung Q2U is like a very good entry-level dynamic microphone, and the AT2020 is also a very good entry-level microphone. So it's kind of logical and it's the fairest of them all to compare both of these microphones as a comparison of a dynamic to condenser microphone. Now I'm going to be recording both audio to the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 second gen. This one is on the left, this one is on the right. So after this I'm gonna separate both of these. I'm gonna talk here, I'm gonna talk here, but I'm gonna split both tracks so you can actually hear the full potential of the condenser and the dynamic. So you cannot hear, let's say if I combine both tracks, if I'm talking to this microphone, this Samsung Q2U, you're gonna hear some background noise from this AT2020. So it's not a fair comparison. So I'm gonna split both tracks after I talk. So now let's just get into the review. So I'm gonna split both of them. Okay, so this is a quite fair split. So right now I'm talking directly into the Samsung Q2U with about, I don't know, what is this, like 4 inches? I don't know. This is for me is the optimum microphone placement where you're talking. So this sounds from my headphones right now. It kind of sounds warmer, like compared to the AT2020, which I feel like it has higher treble, and the sibilance, the S's is more clearly enunciated, and I think the Samsung Q2 just all around has a very flat frequency response sound. So I think it has more flexibility when you're gonna edit later. But I think for live streaming or podcast, I think the sound of this is better, which is like already processed, and sometimes you don't really wanna be processing audio again when you're doing podcast because it's kind of hard you have to delete audio and you have to do stuff in podcast. But the reason dynamic microphones are very popular in podcasts is because they reject background noise really well. So right now if you see me switching from microphones, this Q2U, it actually very well reduces the background noise as of the AT2020, which also does a pretty good job, a decent job at reducing background noise. But I think it still has a bit of hiss to it, and while you can't really hear it from this one, you can definitely hear it from the AT2020. So the main difference between the dynamic and condenser microphone is that the dynamic microphone is kind of very centered here, so you can't really hear anything back there. But the cons of it is that you cannot talk as far, because if you can see right now, if I talk far, it's gonna have a very small sound. Farther than far is gonna have a very small sound. But with the AT2020, if I talk further, I think the gain is still gonna be quite the same. It's not really the same, but I think it's still better than the Q2U. So that is why the majority of people who records with a dynamic microphone is usually the one who's not in a studio, in an environment that there's kind of a bit of background noise, and usually not in a studio like live performances and podcasts where you can actually you don't always have to be in a treated room. While condenser microphone is usually used in like studio cases where the room is pretty well treated acoustically, and like maybe you also can use it as a shotgun microphone, as I have in previous videos, because it has good range. So overall, oh my god, I'm sorry. So overall, the reason I bought both microphones is because I want to have the versatility of both microphones. I want to use this if I cannot record too much background noise, and because in some cases I have to record somewhere else and not in this room, and this room is also not really acoustically treated. I just have one curtain there, which is very dampening. But other than that, there's nothing else that is acoustically treated in this room. So I use this microphone, the Samsung Q2U, usually in cases like when I'm outside the room, when I'm doing interviews, or basically stuff that there's no background noise. But I'm using this sometimes for head-to-head videos, when I sometimes use it as a shotgun microphone because this has good range, as I said before. So the reason I have both microphones is that, and also I wanna have the sound of both microphones, because a dynamic microphone is usually I think it sounds a bit more muffled because the frequency range, I think from this one is like 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. No, 20 hertz to 18 kilohertz. No, 20 hertz to 15 kilohertz, and this is like 15 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I think basically the range is farther, so you have more voice in, like, the clarity of your voice is better in the condenser microphone rather than the dynamic microphone, which the dynamic microphone is kind of more muffled. But I guess that also because of the smaller frequency range or the shorter distance frequency range, the dynamic microphone performs better in background noise rejection because it cuts off the highs and the lows. So I think apart from that, both are cardioid microphones. Of course, if you buy a condenser microphone, there is some like the figure 8 pattern or the omnidirectional pattern, but it really depends on which one you buy it. For me, I'm testing both on cardioid. Both are just cardioid microphones, and I love cardioid microphones because it only captures the thing in front of you and not behind you, because I don't really know why you want to record here, anywhere. I only record in the front. So basically the main difference between dynamic microphones and condenser microphones is that the sound will be a bit different. I think the condenser microphone is clearer and has more clarity, while the dynamic microphone is a bit more muffled, but at the same time it has less background noise, which the AT2020 has more background noise. So that is it for today's video. What I'm trying to point out is the dynamic microphones is usually for you guys who don't have an acoustically treated room, or in a scenario where there's a lot of background noise, or you're doing an interview like outside. You use the dynamic microphone because it cuts off less background noise. And for the condenser microphone, you use it because you want to have more clarity in your voice, a better sound presence in your voice. And if you have an acoustically treated room, I suggest you use a condenser microphone as opposed to a dynamic microphone because it captures more presence, but it does capture more background noise. Yeah, and another reason for dynamic microphones is I think it resists harsh noises louder. So if I scream right now, headphone users, I think you might lower your volume a bit. So as you can see, the dynamic microphone handles I think it handles the harsh noises better because, of course, the dynamic microphone, it is less sensitive prone because of the shorter frequency range. So for singing and rapping and stuff like that in stage, you probably want to use dynamic microphone because it can handle harsh noises better. As of this one is kind of delicate. This is like a glass of a microphone, so you have to kind of talk a bit further away from the microphone and make sure you speak at a constant level. And if you want to shout louder, just go back and and then it will, of course, it will not peak. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Well, this has been quite a long video, but I just want to show you guys the differences between dynamic microphones and condenser microphones, and both of these are connected into the same audio interface, so there really is no difference in the way I process it. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.